Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify, Apple, or Google, please leave a 5-star rating and review. It supports the podcast and it doesn't cost you anything. This content is brought to you by Uphold, which is a great crypto platform that I've been using since 2017. They have 10 plus million users, 250 plus cryptocurrencies, and they're available in 150 countries. You can also buy and sell precious metals and equities on Uphold. If you'd like to learn more, please visit the link in the description. Well, folks, I'd like to start off by talking about the price of Bitcoin because there are a lot of eyes on Bitcoin right now with its recent pullback. And of course, we know the altcoins follow Bitcoin's move. Usually you have a strong move from Bitcoin, then the liquidity flows from Bitcoin to the altcoins, and then different altcoins start popping off and what some would call altcoin season. Right now, Bitcoin is hovering around $27,000. And if we look at the daily chart here, we see this looks like a normal pullback. It's almost similar to the one that took place in March after the big pump from January into February. Well, after the pullback in March, we then had a massive pump into April and then some consolidation. Now we're seeing a pullback. So I foresee, and we're talking probabilities here. We're not talking certainties. So remember that. I foresee Bitcoin continuing its move, its retracement up to 40 to 50K. We'll see if that actually happens. I think there's a higher probability of it moving upwards versus down, as some bears would say. And of course, bears are trying to put the narrative out there, right? Because they're shorting. So I'm looking at the charts. I'm looking at the historical patterns. I'm looking at the Bitcoin's retracement in 2019. I'm looking at the Fibonacci here model as well. And once again, I'm anticipating a move to 40K. I don't think this bullish rally is over. I don't think we're in a bull market as yet. I think the bull market starts next year after the Bitcoin halving, as once again, we've seen historically. Now, the other interesting thing is, of course, the DXY, which is the dollar currency index. It is currently moving upwards. However, on the daily chart, I'm seeing a little bit of a red candle forming. But, this thing could play out over the next few weeks. We have to see how things move. And I'm anticipating Bitcoin to find support, just around $25,000. So that's what I'm personally looking at, what I'm thinking. I'll buy the dips accordingly and then just wait for Bitcoin to continue its move upwards. Now, I do think Bitcoin will head to about 40K, maybe just over, then roll over and retest lows again. How low, I'm not sure, but I'll just be dollar cost averaging and buying the dips. So that's my strategy. I'll be taking profits off of Bitcoin as it moves to 40K and then wait for some alts to pop off and take profits there as well. Now, let's jump into the news. We got some interesting news coming from Bakkt. Bakkt mass delist tokens, including Aave, Avalanche, Compound, Filecoin, MakerDAO, and Uniswap. The Intercontinental Exchange owned Bakkt discontinued its customer-facing app in February as it shifts away from retail. So, folks, what's happening here is the regulatory uncertainty is forcing a lot of companies to do things, and Bakkt is delisting these tokens because there's no clarity from the SEC. Now, Bakkt, while they are, backed, no pun intended, by the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange, which is the Intercontinental Exchange, they're not a massive, app or exchange or anything like that. They just have a lot of resources behind them, and they really had some problems getting their product and their app off the ground. They were supposed to do a partnership with Starbucks and so forth, but there was a lot of drama, a lot of nonsense, especially around the owner of the Intercontinental Exchange's wife, who was running for Congress, I think, or something like that. A lot of political issues that slowed down Bakkt, and it never really got off the ground properly. But nevertheless, this is really not good to see this is happening. And, it's because of the lack of regulatory clarity. And they provided a full list of the tokens. It includes SushiSwap, Tezos, the Graph, Internet Computer, Filecoin, and so forth, Compound, Cosmos, Chainlink, Basic Attention Token. I'm really surprised by some of the names on here. So this really sucks. But, look, I wasn't using Bakkt. I don't even know anybody who uses it. So in a way, it's not really a big issue. Now, if Coinbase was doing this or Binance or Uphold or something, then I would be like, okay, something is up here, right? It's hit the panic button. But right now, I'm just like, okay, Bakkt, go. Good luck with that. We'll see. But let me give you the rest of the news. Following the closing of our acquisition of Apex Crypto, and as part of our regular coin listing review process, we have made the decision to delist a number of coins on the platform. A spokesperson for the exchange told CoinDesk, "Our clients and their consumers' best interests are our core commitment, and our review process ensures these interests are best served when we contemplate the most up-to-date regulatory guidance and the latest industry developments." Bakkt agreed to acquire Apex Crypto in November, and the deal closed on April 1st. Under the terms of the agreement, Bakkt will acquire Apex Crypto for a maximum purchase price of $200 million. And according to a note sent by a spokesperson, Bakkt initially paid $55 million when the deal closed and will pay up to $145 million in Bakkt stock, depending on Apex's ability to hit financial targets through 2025. This acquisition was part of the firm's shift away from retail towards B2B, which is business to business, as it recently shuttered its consumer crypto trading app after 2 years. The exchange has struggled to gain a foothold in the market and a critical mass of traders. It's posting quarterly revenues of $13 million last quarter, 10% below the average analyst estimate. So, obviously they're shifting away from retail and they're going more institutional. And this is a big acquisition they just did here for $200 million. But, the fact that they're delisting some of the big coins like Avalanche and Cosmos and so forth is really, really crazy. And, part of it, as they mentioned, the regulatory uncertainty. So we'll see, if any other exchanges or platforms follow suit. But once again, no major presence in the market. Honestly, they were small fish, and even though they're backed by the biggest whales, right, which is Intercontinental Exchange, but interesting news, and just shows the confusion and the pressure and the nonsense, the ambiguity that a lot of these companies have to deal with because we don't have regulatory clarity here in the United States. Now, Coinbase establishes a global advisory council. This is interesting, folks, and there are some very big names, some members of Congress and so forth, many who supported crypto. So the TLDR, Coinbase is launching a global advisory council to help navigate the complex and evolving landscape of the crypto industry and strengthen relationships with strategic stakeholders around the world. The first members of the council will be former U.S. Senator Patrick Toomey, former Congressman Tim Ryan, Chris Lehane, Chief Strategy Officer of Hahn Ventures, former Congressman Sean Patrick Maloney, and John Anzalone, founder of Impact Research Polling. So they got some big names here. The one that stands out for me is Pat Toomey. He was big on crypto. He held a lot of hearings on stablecoins, and of course, he's retired now. So very, very interesting here, and smart move, by the way. These are the things that crypto companies have to do. Bring in the heavyweights, the folks who have relationships within Congress and political backgrounds, and they're seasoned in politics, because we got to fight. We're going up against a corrupt regulator that is Gary Gensler, and we see, how slow the government machine is. We see the lobbying. We have clowns like Brad Sherman and Elizabeth Warren also going out there spreading FUD about crypto. So we need the big guns to come in here and help us to fight back against the FUDsters out there. So big move by Coinbase. Now, apparently the United States is not the only place that there's regulatory uncertainty, because Canada is apparently creating problems for a lot of crypto companies. So Binance, they tweeted out, "Unfortunately, today we are announcing that Binance will be joining our other prominent crypto businesses in proactively withdrawing from the Canadian marketplace." So Binance is joining OKX, Paxos, and DYDX in withdrawing from Canada. So apparently things are not 100% clear in Canada. Although I do think it's a little better in Canada. They pass Bitcoin spot ETFs and so forth. Those spot ETFs have been trading on the Toronto Stock Exchanges and other venues. So it's strange. And, some big names here, Binance, OKX, and so forth, Paxos. So hopefully Canada can fix some of their problems and some of these companies can come back in. I'm sure it's about a licensing item, and I don't know the specifics about why they're blocking these exchanges from getting their licenses, but we'll have to wait and see as more details come out. Now, here in the United States, House Democrats consider new stablecoin bill proposal. The proposal comes weeks after Republicans introduced their own discussion draft of a new bill. Now, recently I interviewed Ron Hammond of the Blockchain Association, and we talked about this. You know, there is a little bit of a clique forming. You know, the Brad Shermans, the Maxine Waters, the Elizabeth Warrens, right? Some of them are trying to push this anti-crypto narrative. But we do see that they are outnumbered. You know, there are more Democrats and Republicans working together for clear regulations around crypto. So House Democrats are considering their own version of a long-anticipated stablecoin bill. A person familiar with the situation told CoinDesk, but their views demonstrate a substantial rift with a parallel Republican effort. The proposal, a successor to a version spearheaded by Representatives Maxine Waters and Patrick McHenry last year, comes weeks after Waters said lawmakers need to start from scratch on legislation addressing the corner of the crypto market. Republicans on the House Financial Services Committee had moved ahead on a new draft of a stablecoin bill in recent weeks, but it was greeted with frustration by the panel's Democrats, including Representative Maxine Waters, the committee's senior Democrat. She'd publicly complained that the effort was done without Republican or Democratic involvement and that lawmakers should be starting over. Look, there's obviously a lot of dog and pony show here and a lot of grandstanding, but this industry needs the clarity. Hopefully they can come together and work together and get some regulations out there. I know Patrick McHenry is doing his job. He's pushing, he's talking about, you know, he wants to get 2 bills out within the next 60 days. And he's been holding a lot of hearings. In fact, there's one coming up this week about stablecoins. So my hope is they can get something through this year, because as Ron Hammond of the Blockchain Association said in my recent interview, the 2024 election is going to, you know, be all about everything people are going to discuss, you know, starting in late 2023 into 2024. So a lot of bills, a lot of things, no matter what it is going to get held up and distracted because it's going to be about the election cycle. So hopefully they can get some stuff through this year, guys. Fingers crossed. Now, Stuart Alderati of Ripple has been tweeting out some very interesting things around the SEC and the Howey test and the Supreme Court and so forth. And I want to share that with you because obviously we need Ripple to win. Even if you hate Ripple and you hate XRP, it doesn't matter. You still want to be rooting for Ripple to win because the entire industry is under attack and we need a win. We need to set a precedence where the rest of the altcoin projects can fight back against the corruption of the SEC. So Stewart highlighted the following. In 1946, its Supreme Court Howey brief, the SEC unsuccessfully argued that an investment in a common enterprise was unnecessary provided there was a community of interest. The SEC was wrong then, and it's still wrong now. Common interest does not equal common enterprise. It's a great point there, and obviously the SEC is trying to say it is, right? Now, attorney Jeremy Hogan tweeted out something here about a case. He said, I was going to do a reason number 3 XRP was not sold as a security tweet this week, but Stuart Alderati, and he said, /Bill beat me to it. And he did it better anyway. The Rivac case lays it out well. And based on the court record, XRP was not sold as a security at least since 2018. So Stuart Alderati retweeted that and said the Rivac case exposes yet another SEC sleight of hand. Without a common enterprise, it matters not whether the fortunes of investors are tied to the efforts of others. The Howey test is not so easily satisfied. But, you know, this is the ambiguity and the nonsense we're dealing with the SEC. They keep it very open-ended, and they don't want to provide the rules of the road because they just want to go around and shake down companies and, you know, grab as much fines and penalties as possible. But once again, they haven't put out the rules of the road. They're just going around and policing, you know, based on how they feel and what's going on in certain situations. It's ridiculous. And I've been talking about it for a very long time. I think this is them protecting the incumbents, going after these crypto startups. We know crypto, blockchain, and so forth is here to stay. This is technology is the future. And that's why you see BlackRock, Fidelity, NASDAQ, all these big companies that are getting involved. But, they're not going after BlackRock. They're not going after NASDAQ or Fidelity. They're going after the startups and the companies, right? They're trying to slow them down, roadblock them, kill some of them, but not kill crypto. Just kill these companies so that the big incumbents can come in and just take over and try to continue their status quo as things have been going on for a long time. Now, John Deaton retweeted Stuart Al-Aradi and said, "Let's not forget the SEC's schizophrenic theory regarding what constitutes the common enterprise in the case. First, Ripple was the common enterprise. Ripple forced them to concede XRP holders receive no interest in Ripple whatsoever by owning XRP. So what did the SEC do? The SEC shifted its theory and said the entire XRP ecosystem constituted the common enterprise, including all XRP holders in the world, all exchanges that list XRP, and all vendors or companies that accept XRP as a form of payment." Yep, they actually argue that. In order to try to prove such a ridiculous overboard claim, the SEC intended to rely on a hired gun, an expert witness who testified that all XRP holders must rely on Ripple. But XRP holders stopped that nonsense and helped get this expert's bullshit opinion excluded by the judge. So what did the SEC argue next? It once again shifted its common enterprise theory and abandoned the entire XRP ecosystem theory to a new theory. XRP itself represents the common enterprise. That's their insane argument. I call it schizophrenic defense. But we know, guys, it's all BS by the SEC. They're making it up as they go. No allegiance to the law, as Judge Sarah Netburn said, as the Chamber of Commerce recently said. Once again, that views, fights on behalf of businesses in every industry across the United States. They said what the SEC is doing to crypto is unlawful. So the SEC has no allegiance to the law. Is a bunch of hypocrites, is corruption, and they've fallen far from their core mission, which is protecting retail investors. This is why I keep saying we have to fight. Tweet, call your representatives, make content, spread the facts, and just continue to expose these corrupt individuals like Gary Gensler. All right, guys, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button, share this video, and I'll talk to you all later.